Very much. Katrina Labasco and Panda here with you as action has already gotten underway here on map number 1, and controlling things at the start is Suquinho Nation as they will clear off this point, Panda, and take control of this first map on Busan.
Here on downtown Busan, thank you so much for joining us in this downtown central of South Korea. Predators Esports, they wanted to roll out here with the same composition that you see holding it. TSN with this dive composition with a 3-3, if you will, with the Brigitte Lovok on that roll versus Sam. It's kind of just pretty much who can get that first shield bash, who can find the first mistake on the alternative dive. If Shockwave out of this fight early is an early team fight for Suquinho.
Another quick fight that they're going to win and just keep control of, and just let those ultimates continue to build. They have 3 already up onto the board for this next fight.
Yeah, and setting themselves up wonderfully for this 40% control charge. Jules will have this Primal Rage available next to Darken if they can set themselves up away from the bubble, and Predators with their out of position. That self-destruct could do a lot of damage. Sam with this armor underneath the rally ultimate could be a thorn in the side for TSN as they look to defend this next team fight.
Diving onto those characters on the right side. Throw in the self-destruct right now. Does Darken finds one in Unreal, who is about to use the sound barrier too, and he didn't get it off. So he's going to lose that here. So disaster for the side of Predators Esports as they're being forced back into spawn.
That is absolutely unreal. Insanity. Big play coming out there. Sometimes you can actually get that off in time. Most Lucio players know this, is that you can get that sound barrier off in time to save a multitude of your friendlies from a self-destruct. Not in time, however. TSN still has both their support ultimates, however, and Jules didn't take enough pressure to call out that Primal Rage. Sound barrier, speaking of, comes out for TSN.
Primal Rage used here at the beginning, but Delvigne able to find 2 at the start. Darken getting Shockwave as well, so this fight already heavily in favor of Suquinho again, as they just clean up anybody who heads towards the point, and they should have point number 1 here and go up 1-0.
Now, Suquinho holding super strong. They never really took too much pressure to really break open their big vault of ults. Delvigne, like the desk was mentioning, named Delading after the previous season of Contenders by one of our casters here at Broadcast.gg because of how good he was at hitting those headshots. Definitely transitions over very well to that Zarya role, that tracking, the ability to really finish off the subjects that you're absolutely dumpstering the damage that you're gaining charge into is a good way for TSN to be setting themselves up as we go into the next map. Labasco, it's going to be the mech base.
We see here Suquinho with that preparation that they're making. Well, Lubbock is actually going to go over, it looks like, to the Mei. So they're going to use a Mei in this comp that they're going to run.
Mei can be a very hard character to dislodge. Suquinho are playing out to, if they win this first team fight, for that exact scenario. If they split apart the members of Predators, it's going to be a very hard team to combat and against. They find the Reinhardt back against the wall. Look at the healing he needs in time, but he still falls as the Venge is out.
Massive, great start for the side of Suquinho. Again, nothing like their name suggests, Panda. They are dominating and controlling this map, and they'll build up and start taking care of the point here in just a second.
Yeah, and Lubbock, only 30% charge, but the Mei really paying its dividends so far. Speed boost from Negofish is actually going to be one of the more benefiting factors of this team composition as they just oppress the enemies of Predators Esports in that small choke point back into that small room. Predators Esports, however, they're just trying to find an opening into this, not trying to get walled out is the name of this game.
Well, that wall seemed to have missed as well from the Mei, but still looking for the freeze onto the Doomfist. Does get so. Unreal, though, able to get Delvigne at the start of this fight. Even fight for both of these teams. Walls off a few, but it only just keeps them from getting towards that back line. Lubbock still able to help into this fight. Mago, though, able to get the Mei down. Darken, in the meantime, will get Hikre's mech. So this is still a pretty even fight on either side. Graviton Surge pulls in a few for this side of Predators Esports. Now another grab thrown in as well. So both grabs into this fight. Sam able to take out Darken. In the meantime, Predators have to try and win this fight if they want to have a chance on this map. Using the sound barrier to keep themselves in it, though, is Suquinho. So they still in this fight that's been going on for a while here, and Blizzard thrown out.
They froze Hickory, so he was out of the team fight for such a long time. There was no appeal available for Predators Esports. Their supports just absolutely got torn to pieces. The sound barrier that NegoFist used before this fight ensued is paying its dividends as the point didn't even flip over. TSN still has control of this point. The Graviton Surge come up from Shockwave, gathers up a few from Suquinho. This is the opening that they need.
Lubbock going to get swung at and killed by that hammer of Is Avenge. And now Predators Esports will get their first control in this map, in this mode.
And Predators had to throw so much into that fight too. That's how TSN can leave that fight with a smile on their face. Lubbock, don't forget, did use that Blizzard in that last team fight. Already 55% to his next one. Jules with that Earth Shatter. It might be the opening ultimate that we need. The wall, the snipe wall, Clench Shockwave. He is out of this fight already. That is so much damage done for Predators Esports.
Massive good use of the wall, and Rankyoshi as well, able to get another elimination. So now Suquinho just have to push onto this point, and they can try and control this fight. They have themselves an Earth Shatter here. They know Bash is out, so when will it come out is the only question. Use the bubble here to make sure Jules stays up in this fight, gets bumped around in towards this thing. They'll use the Graviton Surge instead, and swinging into it was Jules, and DegoFist and Darkin able to get the last couple of limbs there. That should help them switch this point back over. Just the D.Va out of mech to deal with.
Yeah, and Predators Esports will have that Graviton Surge to recontest this fight with. It's up at 86% now for TSN, and they have the defensive ultimates for it. They have the self-destruct, they have the sound barrier, and Jules been a standout player thus far for the entire team of TSN thus far. And holding on to that Earth Shatter could solidify this first map here for TSN. Predators Esports, they're coming in very quickly here.
Really fast onto the point. Self-destruct comes out and fights through. Shockwave and Mega will fall. So Suquinho in a great position, chases down the Brigitte. And now it's just D.Va on the point with the overtime meter about to start ticking down.
And ticking down and out of the way. TSN will take this first map. Predators Esports put up a heck of a fight. But I gotta say, when you have that much ability in between the front to the back line, specifically for Rankyoshi, and the main tank, the Reinhardt for TSN as well, was absolutely amazing. I'm be lying to you all at home if it wasn't Jules absolutely standing, holding firm, where you would think most Reinhardts would be swinging into a Graviton Surge, I guess nonsensically. He was just sitting there shielding up for about half of it, so that way the rest of his team didn't take damage that they didn't need to. That right there really shows you how much a Reinhardt is just staying with his team.
It's such an important skill to be able to have on Reinhardt, especially with the importance to him in that composition. But there's more than just that too. Of course, Brigitte is extremely important as well. As far as Suquinho's Nation Brig play, what did you think of what you saw from Delvigne?
Delvigne is, like I was saying in between those first two maps, he was doing a fantastic job capitalizing on all of the charge that he was being left with from Jules, who was swapping between Winston and Reinhardt, as you can see on your screen here. Taking up a few highlights from downtown. Just the entire team just benefiting from his bubbles in particular. And just how much charge he's able to build. That is a lot of damage that the entire team of Predators Esports can't walk into, can't be eaten by a defense matrix even. And when you're just, I guess, enabled by that and by your Brigitte of Lubbock from downtown, who also swapped over to the May, keep in mind you, that really just helps out a multitude of subjects on your team of TSN.
And Lubbock stayed on that too, did not switch off of it when they lost that team fight that gave control over to Predators Esports, and they were still able to make it work. And seeing some of the highlights of him playing that there too, were you surprised at all that they didn't switch off of that May once that they kind of lost that point? Because it's a lot harder to use May if you don't have control of the point.
I'm not all too surprised. South America Overwatch, South American Contenders specifically, it's just one of those regions that's very popular for playing those off-meta picks. And when you face a team, when a team isn't really used to facing those weird compositions on maps that they're used to saying just scrimming only 3-3 compositions, it's going to appear more and more difficult because you don't necessarily have the tools or the muscle memory to deal with that May as much as you would, say, a Winston, D.Va, and Zarya, the 3-3 composition of dive that we've been seeing so much of in this current patch. However, when you're going forward, you got to remember to take those simple switches. You know, there's more to a DPS player rather than just Brigitte, as Lubbock wanted to really show us there on Mecha Setzer.
And you can show off your skills on DPS and assemble your team to compete in the Overwatch Open Division. This entry-level program for aspiring professionals will be the proving grounds where players can test their strengths as teammates. Don't wait. Signups end on December 3rd. So if you want to do that, be sure to get in and do that now. We know our next map is going to be Numbani Panda. We know that Busan was pretty heavily in favor of Suquinho Nation, but we look at Numbani now. We know that dive is definitely a huge possibility that can be played here. Does this help Predators Esports and what they maybe want to do here on this next map?
This map pick is Predators Esports, though the two map picks in particular are kind of a reverse of one another, a mirror, if you will. Numbani is, the way that it plays out for tanks is kind of dive heavy, very dive heavy, and then very death ball heavy at the very end in points, so point A, point B, point C. I think this still plays into the favor of TSN, actually, for Jules in particular. His Winston was very strong. Predators Esports need to do a better job of negating all of that damage that is incoming when he just flies in from his shift ability and just lands on your backline. Your Zenyatta needs to stay alive and not oppressed out of the fight from a Winston being bubbled off and the Discord orb only being on the Winston because of the Zenyatta being dove. You need to have that space readily available so that way your tanks can also do that, whether you take the fight into your own hands. And on defense here, we'll see Predators Esports pull out an Orisa composition, a heavier shield composition, or even make it fun for all of us and unlock that payload and go Bastion. I think they need to play like what we were just previously seeing out of TSN with that May pick, a little bit further away from the meta and really catch their enemies off guard here.
It's definitely something that we hope to see when we go into this next map. I think we might be just a few moments away here. I mean, but, you know, Suquinho Nation, I think, like you said, they're probably going to be happy that this is the map that they go to. Was there anybody else? I know you said that the space being created was one thing you liked, but was there anything else, anybody else in particular that stood out for you?
So far, I would probably end up saying that Ren Kyoshi would probably be the next standout for me. TSN in particular, they looked very good across the board, and a very well-oiled machine that this ragtag group of individuals that were in Contenders last season are doing a good job of taking in their staff members and really coming into their own. And that space that was being so happily talked about earlier is being followed up by none other than the Ana player from the last map, which was Ren Kyoshi. Those biotic grenades, not only finding eliminations, but finding anti-grenades, extra boosted healing onto his main tank of Jules all at the same time. It's a win-win when you're in that Ana role, especially playing it the support mantle, and it just leaves with the rest of the enemies in fear because there's not a whole lot that you can do if you're a main tank and you're purple. It's almost like just being hacked. Can't really do a whole lot besides just hold down that S key and back up. But as we're setting up on Numbani, TSN will be on defense first here. They are going with a 1-2-3 composition. Double defensive, support ultimate with Lubbock on to that Brigade. So Delvigne, however, going to show us even more why his nickname back then last season was Delading. He's going to play McCree.
Delvigne, like you said on that, and using to great effect the stun there by the Brigitte of Lubbock, takes out the diving Winston at the start of this one. So not a bad start here for the defending team. A Helix Rocket comes in from Shockwave, but his team still has to regroup here as everybody's still alive on the side of Suquinho Nation.
It's not bad so far. It's just kind of just waiting to see what Predators does. And TSN, they are so mobile that they can almost get around anywhere that they really want to. Darkin will get that mech back. So Predators Esports need to reassess how they're going to take this fight. So they're just going to get down to the point. But Shockwave is committing a full tactical visor into the Diva mech.
And it works at the very least because Sam eliminates Jules at the start of this fight. So early advantage here in this fight goes to Predators Esports as they can try pushing onto the point. Transcendence popped here on the side of Suquinho, and Delvigne was able to get two with the Deadeye. Couldn't even hear it through that trans, but a huge Deadeye allows for them to sort of reset and keep the defense going.
Well, hey, someone's definitely paying attention to the time, and that's Delvigne. If you ever wonder what time it was, Delvigne reminded us there at the bottom end of that fight. 2 ticks did go over, however, to Predators Esports. So one more team fight, a slight knockoff in a Primal Rage can absolutely disrupt Suquinho Nation to be off the point, and then the Predators Esports can get this payload under wraps. But when Delavinia is just landing shots onto Mago like that, that is a very hard point to push.
Even though Shockwave is building up to another visor, it doesn't really matter that you may potentially have that. Jules using the Primal Rage, throwing everybody back into that small little room, and now backs away after it ends. And they have Rally as well that they're going to pop here.
Extra armor to Rankyoshi. I mentioned that he was a standout player for me thus far. His Zenyatta is no other short than as standout as his Ana. Delavinia is charging next to his Deadeye ultimate. Nigo Fist will have a sound barrier he can throw into this next fight, but the real story is who's going to defensively use it first. Is Shockwave going to get enough picks with this tack visor, or will the sound barrier come out in time? And it does.
Tactical visor, and then you also have the Deadeye that still finds Shockwave. He was still able to get him down, even though he was booped away off of it. Presses that left click just in time. Luckily, he was booped, though, because it would have found more is the only thing. Unreal able to get the res off. Only problem is Delavinia isn't done on that. McCree eliminates Shockwave again, and Jules finds the Brigitte, so don't worry about the stun. If you're the Winston, you still can manage to get that elim if the player's not there. And Rankyoshi, with a nice left click, gets Mago.
Yeah, it was a Zenyatta versus a versus a Zen Winston, but you know it was gonna come out on the favor of TSN regardless. Just that headshot was just so clean. Orbs of Destruction have no fall-off damage, but when you're that close, whew, you might as well just look. It don't matter, but look out for Rankyoshi. TSN, however, they're gonna have this Primal Rage available for them. Lubbock will be nearing this this rally, so more armor is still in the favor. It's actually still underneath the shielding of Rankyoshi. That's how little pressure he's actually taken. In Predators Esports, they need to get closer to these support ultimates because we're in last fight territory in Labasco. If they don't get this last tick, they don't unlock the payload.
Well, the good thing for them is they're closer to it than the supports for Suquinho Nation, but Lubbock is able to get carry out of mech, so that's a pretty good start. Jules is able to use the Primal Rage and stay up in this fight, will allow Darken to take out his Avenge, so have to go back, but they're going to commit Transcendence here to make sure these last few players stay alive. So Jules just backing out, doesn't want to get himself felled before the real fight starts. Shockwave quickly popping his visor again, at least forces Transcendence a little bit earlier here than maybe he wanted to. Only problem is everybody's falling around him, so overtime meter going in. It looks like it's not going to matter for the side of Predators Esports as they quickly fall. Delavinia showing off on this Tracer that was switched to just to make sure they got back for that last fight, and they will have not a full hold, but pretty close to it, Panda.
Delavinia came back there as a stall hero. Wanted to make it back to the point as quick as possible. And what was most impressive is that his Tracer stuck too, pun intended. His Tracer is one of the many heroes that we got to give him that nickname last season of Contenders on it. It's just very nice to see returning players to the scene on the heroes that they were most infamously named for. But 81.6% to the control meter for Predators Esports. TSN, they have their win condition with their eyes on the prize. It's about 2.5 ticks that they need. And if they set themselves up for that dive defense for this attack, it's going to be a 2-0 victory on the map score going into the half. And Predators Esports, they don't want that to happen. They are held together by strong tank play, and Shockwave was charging those tactical visors very quickly. It's just these minor things, Labasco, that they are missing. Just not having the right enemies, the Suquinho suppress, such as the Diva mech for the tech visor to really implement enough pressure, or for their supports to be in the right position to provide enough healing for their main tank of this Avenge, that they're just falling short on these objectives.
Did you, I mean, you know, you were saying how Shockwave was building them really fast, and he's going to play it here again on defense. We see him on the 76 again. Was he getting enough value out of those visors, though? Those tack visors didn't seem to ever really get anybody.
No, absolutely not. He wasn't finding any value whatsoever. They did find 2 ticks off of one tactical visor. It was the spacing more than anything. There was so much armor to get through of Lubbock. Soldier 76 with his ultimate, the tactical visor, he needs a nano boost for it so that way you can really chew through the armor and shred through it like no tomorrow. Predators Esports is coming up for their attack, however. Like you said, they're staying on the soldier, or on their defense rather. They're staying on the soldier, setting up on the high ground, waiting out for the dive to come through. But it's more of just a bait, so that way TSN can pick their fights to where they need to. Delavinia is happy to take that sight fight against Shockwave. McCree versus Soldier 76. I'll take a Peacekeeper, thank you.
Especially with the damage that Peacekeeper can do, although a Helix rocket to you can make it very difficult. Avenge able to get Darkin out with the help of Sam. So a pretty good start here for the side of Predators Esports. It's going to cause Suquinho Nation to just go back and regroup. They haven't gone away. They know that there's the Soldier 76, but Shockwave has built to this tactical visor. It's the first ult that we get up here. So maybe it's not so bad.
And to answer your question from earlier, no, I'm not surprised to see Shockwave out here on Soldier 76. It's always been his defense land with an Ana. They don't have one available, but he will pull out that tactical visor. He charged so quickly, just shoving TSN back into that small room. Might want to held onto that for a later fight, but that is a lot of pressure up out of the way. And Predators Esports, they're going to probably wish that they had that plus some more as TSN are getting closer to their ultimates.
Primal Rage committed into this fight. Darkin gets pushed back away from his team, but not far enough to not get into that nano boost. Lavigne doesn't get anything on the Deadeye here is the only problem. Shockwave staying alive in this fight as well. Has already built up to another visor and pops it, forcing out Transcendence at the beginning of this. Now just trying to deal it out. He does get enough onto somebody down on the high ground in Negofist, and Delavigne falls to Mago. Lubbock does manage to get carry, who's out of mech, but it doesn't matter. The defense holds for Predators, and they haven't even given up a tick. Diva just going to fly off and Darkin just to make sure he doesn't give any more ult charge.
Solidifying why Valkyrie is still a strong ultimate. So long as Predators continue to dive together and play near each other, every one of their members can gain the value of Unreal's Valkyrie ultimate. So now TSN, they're finding themselves with about 1 or 2 more fights available, depending on how long this one lasts. And they're going to take a few spots along with it. Rankyoshi going over to the Ana, Delavigne over to the Genji with Lubbock onto the Tracer. Their play here is to build a nano blade in time so that way they can guarantee themselves to win. But at the rate that Shockwave's been charging these tactical visors, he's not making it easy.
Lubbock has to avoid the Brigitte here, ends up on the low ground. In the meantime, Hikari does manage to get Jules out at the start of this fight. So here's some life for Suquinho Nation. Looking for his next target is Delavigne. Sees himself a Winston who's pretty low. Right-clicking at him, but he's being healed up. Lubbock does get Shockwave, but not before he got Nago Fist. Sam using that shift to get another one, and the defense is going to hold again. Darkin having to jump off at the end of a map, and Unreal's able to res Shockwave, who almost has that visor. It's still a strong map for Soldier 76.
The walk is so far, and this fight will last so long because Sam has the rally for Predators Esports. This defense is looking good thus far, and they're looking for the full hold against TSN after they just got full health. That these 2 ticks are going to pay dividends. The win condition is set. Now on the side for Predators Esports, they have the support ultimates nearly available, and here comes another tactical visor.
Hasn't found anybody yet. Now finds Rankyoshi, who ended up running right into it, who was behind for a second, but came just in view for the visor. Delavigne does have his ultimate, but will he decide to use it here? He has to be careful not to go down. Gets healed up by the Lucio by the Lucio aura, and now just going to hold off. There was a Transcendence use, but now he knows that he has no defensive ults that he has to deal with when he does get it. This could be the difference maker.
Immense patience from TSN for this next attack. They're about to have 5 stack of ultimates, and those 2, the nano boost, the blade, the sound barrier, 3 of them. This Genji has all the resources.
Finds 2 at the beginning. Shockwave and the Zen down. The res does manage to come out. So close to winning this one is Suquinho Nation. Unreal able to get that out. And now diving in and not able to hold on at the end is Predators Nation. They couldn't get back onto the point, so that nano boosted blade makes the difference, Panda.
The nano boost, the Dragon Blade, the sound barrier. Again, she literally just received every little bit of resources that the entire team of TSN had to offer. Predators Esports, they couldn't find the continuous footing to hold that defense strong. They were punishing the main tank in the dive so well against TSN. But TSN, they will go up 2-0 in this series thus far. It's not over yet.
Very, very close. And to break down all the action, of course, we have our desk, Katrina, hosting it for Naori and LaFon. So Katrina, go ahead, take it away. Tell us what you guys thought.
That was absolutely incredible. This first half has gone by so quickly in favor of TSN, but before we go into more details, LaFon, these are 2 restructured rosters. How would you characterize how each team has resorted to this new change in their setup?
I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about one team in particular here, and that is Suquinho Nation, TSN, as I'm probably going to call them for the remainder of this particular desk. But one thing that's really, really struck me about this team is that they're playing very aggressively, in a very coordinated fashion, almost like they're being cocky, and it's paying off. map number 1, they ran through, they made sure they were the one in control the whole time. And they dropped, mecha base a couple of percentages, like 34% or something, very minimal. And they came to, to Numbani, and they held it. They played their style very aggressively, and it's, Nari's gonna, show us in a little bit. It's been something that what they pick is what they're running, and they're not, defaulting to sort of a counter. What Predators is going, they're going for what they actually want to do. This kind of like aggressive gameplay is super fun to watch.
It's absolutely incredible. And Naori, I remember when we were watching Busan, there was a moment where all of us got extremely excited to see your favorite hero being picked. Could you tell us about what happened on Mecha Base?
Right. So once again, for literally anybody that's ever seen me on a desk, I love Mei. I feel like she's an under kit. And just seeing her, like, she shuts down Goat's composition so well with her AoE freeze. It's phenomenal. And the best part about that particular Mei was the walls. Like, the way that he was managing to zone out the enemy team and just make sure to have just the right heroes on this side of the wall and just the right heroes on that side of the wall to just completely dismantle any attack. I mean, you love to see it. That's like best, like, because on first map Busan, right, we just saw like traditional, I say traditional, we saw Zen Goats v Goats, right? And yeah, that was pretty standard Goats, and Suquinho dominated, and then we moved on to Mecha Base, and I kind of expected Predators to run the Mei in a response to this Goats that they were not managing to deal with, and Suquinho came out and they were like, cool, we're gonna run Mei, and they dominated. You love it.
Absolutely do love to see it. And Lafon, was there any specific reason why we did see Suquinho almost get full held on Numbani, but they managed to pull it through? What happened? What allowed them to really finish off that map and come into the half with a 2-0 lead?
That aggressiveness, that almost disrespect that I talked about earlier came into play, and it's actually one of the reasons why they ended up winning that map. They picked the Genji Tracer into a composition that is like arguably supposed to, counter the Brigitte, the sort of that control composition. But the most important thing that they did is they played it aggressively, and they played it in as a team. So they were able to just go in and when they saw their win condition, which was the Nano Blade, when they saw their win condition, they had a plan of attack. We're going to take out the Transcendence. We're going to make sure that that's out of play, and then we're going to come in right after it. The sheer self-determined, like the confidence to know that that's your win condition, execute on it perfectly, is beyond incredible. Like it's like that's the only way you win, and that's how they won. And it was almost like they set it up like and right after, that's exactly what they did. I don't think it's one of those things, right? When you make a plan, the best laid plans often falter, but they didn't. They just said, we're going to do this, and then executed it perfectly to make sure that was, the way they won. Suquinho are quietly really, really impressing me this early on.
Yes, and Naori, was there any other specific matchup that stood out to you during Numbani especially?
So for me, it was the hit scan matchup between Delavigne and Shoda. What? I'm hitting a blank here, boys.
Shockwave.
Thank you,
yes.
Shockwave.
Soldier, yes.
I nearly said Showdown.
It was a
yes.
showdown.
It was indeed a showdown. So Shockwave on that attack was getting absolutely zero value out of his tack visors. He would visor, and literally the whole of Suquinho would just go hide. No value at all. Whereas Delavigne was hitting his shots time and time again. His high noons were getting so much value. Then we flipped it around. We had Delavigne swapping onto the Genji, and we had Shockwave staying on Soldier on the defense, and suddenly his Soldier started to bloom. We saw tack visors that actually started to get kills. He had tack visor twice in one fight. He was doing so phenomenally well, but unfortunately for him, Delavigne's Genji was just that little bit better. And it was great because Suquinho managed to force out every single one of their ultimates while managing to hold on to the Nano and the Genji Blade. And when they knew that there was absolutely nothing Predators could do, they just Nano Bladed their way on into a win. So really awesome matchup between these two DPS players, and I'm excited to see in the next 2 or possibly 3 maps, like how they're going to continue to butt heads and who's going to come out on top.
Yes, Predators will have to go for that reverse sweep in order for us to see 5 maps, but maybe there's some light being lit underneath them. Maybe that they're going to get a little more extra confidence as we go into this second half. But LaFawn, before we do that, Predators has had a greater amount of time with one another. I would say that they have more time being familiar with their play styles. They did trials with one another. Is this an advantage? And if so, why aren't we seeing this yet?
I mean, if you gave me the game footage and told me to pick which team has been playing together longer, I would have definitely picked Suquinho Nation. It's far and away a team that is much more coordinated through these first two maps. So, is it an advantage? Yes. Has it been shown to be thus far? No. I think Predators has had less of an impact in its terms of team style than I would like to see from a team that is, been playing together. I have to say, one of the things is that compositionally, Suquinho Nation have been better. Picking a pretty strong team comp in terms of what they want to actually run. And I think, for Predators, you got to restructure. The Soldier has been out of meta for a long time for a reason. He's not very good. And even when they did find value, it was you had to put a lot of resources in. So I think for me, my answer is, yeah, a team together longer should play better, but Suquinho are the ones that look more practiced right now.
All right, and before we do throw it over to a quick break and then to our casters, quick predictions. Do you think that Predators will be able to pull through Naori?
No. I feel like they're doing their best. They 100% deserve to be in Contenders, but against this team in particular, Suquinho are just they're just walking straight through. There's no real resistance for them. They can play just about anything that they want to. This is a Suquinho game, 100%.
All right, and LaFawn, one word answer. Predators.
For my, it's going to be a little bit longer than one, but not much. For me, it's going to be the Suquinho Nation again, because up and down their roster, there's so many people I could talk about endlessly, and they've provided that gameplay to this moment. So TSN for me here on out.
All right, and now that we do that, if you don't breathe, it does count as one word, I would say. But I think that all of us have built some chemistry on the desk, and maybe we would be able to utilize that really well in open division. So for those of you watching at home, if you've wanted to find a way into Contenders, you can find a group of friends, a group of teammates to play Overwatch with and compete in open division to get your chance to start on the path to pro. But you have to have that submitted by December 3rd. So we're going to give you a little bit of time, give you a break to stew over some of your options, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back here on Overwatch Contenders South America. Labasco here. Along with me is, of course, the one and only Pokemon Panda. So you're getting ready for map number 3. It is currently 2-0, a narrow 2-0 lead after that last map that almost made it 1-1. Suquinho Nation with the lead over Predators Esports. Panda, we don't quite know what map we're going to yet, but we do know that Suquinho Nation has really been aggressive and really taking advantage of the things that they're able to create thanks to their main tanks, Jules being the one that we saw there on Winston on that last map, but they almost didn't quite do it.
Yeah, both these teams agreeing that they didn't want to play the entire map in Nubani, but still agreed on a very good contest, nevertheless, pushing each other to the bitter brink for one capture point of all things, folks. And we haven't even started our assault map, which we'll get to there in a second, which will be Hanamura. No spoilers, but I would definitely say that TSN were backed up. You were right to say by Jules themselves. Rankiyoshi have definitely been a staple and a cornerstone into that back line. So that way Delavigne can not only turn around less often when you have a Zenyatta and an Ana that is that good at doing damage and landing those close proximity shots. So that way, as the hit scan DPS, specifically Delavigne's McCree, the previous map, can really shine through. But the one thing that they have to be careful of is Shockwave. The deaths definitely touched up on it slightly. That Shockwave was really showcasing his capabilities on that Soldier 76. Jack Morrison, do not sleep on him. Yes, he was the leader of Overwatch one day, and he's making a steam line back to a meta near you. Sure, his tactical visor needs a little bit of help here and there, but correct me if I'm wrong, if you don't have that sound barrier, you're still cowarding inside that room, which when an objective is at play, like Assault's about to be, that's time that could be spent on the point that you're spending off of it. So that could be where the entire team of Predators Esports bottleneck TSN and walk away with these next 2 victories and hopefully push them at 5.
Well, there doesn't have to be a bottleneck to the amount of Blizzard games you have, because on Black Friday, there are going to be massive deals available for a limited time on Battle.net. Lots of Blizzard games and products will be on sale. Just head over to Blizzard.com. Don't miss out on this great opportunity to complete your collection of Blizzard games. I know that I'm not going to do that at the very least, Panda, but back to what we've been watching happen here. I think you bring up some really good points about that bottleneck that ended up happening. We're going to Hanamura. Does that mean we see more Shockwave onto the Soldier 76? We know there's that really good high ground point that you can play as Soldier on this map. Do we expect that, or do we think that they switch things up a little bit here?
Contrary to popular belief, and that popular belief specifically being Lafon, Soldier 76 is very good on point B attack. You're right. You can set yourself up with that Deadeye ultimate if you're Delavigne, or the tactical visor if you're Shockwave, Predators Esports, and TSN. Regardless, a hit scan ultimate from up above when the team fight is happening on point B. If the Winston and the D.Va don't have their shift abilities off cooldown, you're pretty much free to quite literally shoot fish in a barrel. But as TSN are taking their defense up here first, Labasco, they're going to be playing with more of a South Korean composition, if you will. The main tank, Hamster, with the D.Va, Lubbock, and Delavigne will be playing the Doomfist and the Sombra, respectively, with an Ana and a Zenyatta. So a lot of burst healing potential with a Transcendence and the Ana Biotic Grenades. Predators, they spot out what Suquinho are playing. They go back and they swap to a true dive with a Moira of all things.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm interested in this Moira more than anything else. Right? Regardless, though, they find Jules and they at least force him away for the moment. Their dive, though, has worked. They've been able to take control of the point at the very least. So now comes in Jules. His it didn't get much there. He was so far away. Doesn't matter, though, because they find a carry on that D.Va. So the mech already gone. Lubbock able to get that one out. Sam trying to find the back line here on this Tracer. Gary trying to build back up to that mech, getting extremely close to it, but Shockwave is able to find Delavigne here before that happens. And then the pulse bomb by Sam gets 2. Mago as well, able to find 2 as well. So this working out so far for Predators Esports.
even if you stay alive for a long time, if you're TSN, Sam is going unchecked in this backline, getting a lot of free damage off. You can see Shockwave is right there with them, about to have a Dragon Blade for this next point. Just gotta wait for him to spawn in this closer spawn. Now the Predators have an attack on point B. Both support ultimates for this ball that could be potentially filled with Snow Labosco going on to point B. The Suquinho Nation, they have to be very, very careful. They didn't swap over to a break to try to shut down this blade. They're just hoping that Delavigne can get this EMP in time to land it onto Predators Esports. But a pick on the Sam, that's a good start.
Massive, but in them is Avenge able to get Nagelfist. So you're down a player on either side. EMP comes out, and that looks like that will be the great equalizer for the side of Suquinho Nation. Lobach able to find 2 and pushes with that rocket punch off the map. He carries, so a great start for the defense on the second point, even though they didn't have success on the first one. But the Predators has some things to work with.
Hikari was already heading that direction. Lobach's just like, here, just let me lightly show you. It's kind of like when your friend's just standing there for the first time, jumping off of like a 2-foot diving board, and you're just like, no, you got this, fam. Here, I got you. You get a nice little replay of Shockwave here, just dying ever so soon. But Lobach, the Doomfist in particular, you can see why most DPS players, if you can play it, they really make a strong showcasing of it, getting a nice swift and triple kill there, will have his Meteor Strike available. Darkin has done enough damage to get its self-destruct readily available. TSN have a plethora of ultimates to play around with, but that hack onto Shockwave, stop him dead in his tracks, that is very, very huge.
He pulled out the blade too. I wonder if he's going to make a switch here, because that was a very ill-advised blade, as his team was quickly eliminated by Suquinho Nation, and he does make the switch over to the McCree, so makes sense why he uses the blade.
Yeah, it all makes sense now. So as we end up pushing forward into this next team fight here, Mago will be swapping over to the Zenyatta, falling pretty low. Will get the heals that he need. 1-2-3 composition now for Predators Esports. The name of the game is to set up Shockwave on top of the perch here. Well, a lot of damage can be thrown into TSN, but look at TSN. They're stacked. They have 6 ultimates coming around from Delvinia's EMP. Self-destruct first, however.
Using the nano boost onto Lubbock as well, who was able to uppercut that poor baby diva out of the fight, chasing down these last few limbs if they can.
Chasing this as far and as they possibly can. A reset gonna have to come through. This Avenge just jumping off with his friends. He's like, I'll see you soon, don't worry about it. TSN, however, they're just barely diving in to this next attack here, as they're setting them up with that plethora of ultimates, still barely tapped into. The nano boost winning them in the last team fight. They have an EMP to do so convincingly this time around. Predators Esports, however, still getting their feet wet onto this this composition. Just trying to look for Shockwave to be set up on this high ground here.
Let's see, 3:40 left to go here on the clock. Suquinho Nation, like you said, a lot of ultimates to work with. Lubbock just sort of waiting here for his opportunity. EMP comes out at the start. Delavigne lost his life while he did that, but Darkin and Lubbock even this up. 4 players alive on either side. Is Avenge falling as well? And it's going to be another wipe for the side of Suquinho Nation. Shockwave uses his ultimate, though, up on the high grade. Didn't get the limb, but Mago's able to finish off Lubbock afterwards. So they're kind of just trying to deal what they can here, but hasn't really done much. There's still 5 ults available for Suquinho Nation because Ram Kiyoshi's already built up to another nano boost.
Yeah, another nano boost, so 5 ultimates again into the rack of ultimates that TSN are liking to hold on to themselves too, kind of like Gremlins with their ultimates. They don't really like sharing them all too much. They would really rather just have you try to steal the gold from them, and when they do is when they use one and then you back off. Sam will have this rally, however. Shockwave used his Deadeye once again. You just see Predators Esports trying to find their way into this team fight. Lubbock has been yet to be dealt with.
Lubbock not finding anything with the nano boost, so Predators at least force out 1 ultimate, able to get another one out as well, but they still have to try and find an elimination here is the only problem. Shockwave uses the Deadeye, finds Delavigne. That's a good start. Self-destruct onto the point, not able to get away from it was Shockwave, so Darkin with 1. Lubbock able to get Unreal out as well, and now this fight's starting to go back for the defense.
Going in the defender's favor. Sure, a tick has still been belt over for Predators Esports, so a win condition could be set there, but we're into 1, maybe 2 team fights. Just what Brigitte does for the rest of the game at hand. Team fights can last such a long time. TSN, they got pushed by Predators Esports, so they had to tap into their ultimates, but they still have an EMP rounding back here, Labosco, and that nano boost from Rankyoshi has been built up once again, so expected to go over to Jules, if not Lubbock, the moment that Delavigne finds any, if all, with this EMP. Predators Esports Hickory needs a heroic self-destruct to come in here if they want to see a light on this point.
The EMP comes out from Delavigne, and it does the work necessary to get the cleanup in this fight. Looking for a rocket punch was Lubbock, doesn't find anybody, and jumping off the point was the Diva for Predators Esports. So they're able to regroup here at the very least.
The time is of the essence here. Predators Esports, they cannot be staggered out any longer. They need to group up as 6 as quickly as possible because this might as well be the last team fight. They will have the rally available walking in here with the self-destruct that got left over. A couple of support ultimates back and round about, but Suquinho Nation, they have both those support ultimates as well. They're about to have 4 or 5 ultimates as well, but look at that punch right onto Sam, canceled out the rally.
Uses the Meteor Strike to find himself a Zenyatta as well. Darkin eliminates Isavenge. Fight going so great for Suquinho Nation. Shockwave taken down as well. And now they might have enough time to regroup one last time, but only 24 seconds left to go, and they find the Diva who's hiding.
They found the Diva that's hiding. Hack, obliterated, left out of mech, try to stagger, probably going to just jump off. But this is going to be the next heroic play that is necessary for Predators. Isavenge might have to actually use this Primal Rage just to stall and to get overtime started on the point. TSN are looking so strong on this defense. This is just more time for Delavigne to charge up this EMP. The punch just keeps Isavenge off in time, but he just barely gets there with the Primal.
Transcendence keeping everybody alive for Predators, but self-destruct finds 3. What a self-destruct from Darkin to swing the fight in the favor of Suquinho Nation. Transcendence to keep everybody alive. Delavigne eliminating Sam, and now just finding this Lucio who's left. They will take this one. 56.1% built up to for the side of Predators Esports. So there is still that win condition for them. But Suquinho Nation have the much easier go of it if they can build up a good time here, getting that first point early.
The Suquinho Nation more like the raid leaders of Anamura Point B, right? Like once you get through Lubbock and Delavigne, it's like, all right, that's cool, that's cool. Oh, by the way, they have an all-star Diva player waiting for you there, and you have to get through the self-destruct and the cleanup that is this Diva player named Darkin. TSN are firing off on all cylinders, and sure, 56.1% was accrued for Predators Esports on point B, but TSN, they have been looking dominant since the gates opened all the way back on Busan. They've looked like they have been practicing with one another. The trust is there. Jules has all the support that he absolutely needs from Rankyoshi at a moment's notice, and with all that pressure and space that's available, their supports from TSN are taking so little pressure that Predator Esports are continuously scratching their head. It's not just the DPS, it's not just the tanks or the supports at home. Don't fool yourselves, because it's the entire team being suppressed and bottlenecked by TSN, so that way the entire team of Predators Esports don't even get a chance to combine their ultimates or to use their space available, because TSN are just so good at bottlenecking their enemies, whether it's just the Primal Rage, EMP, or just a standout punch from Lubbock. They've been looking very dominant thus far.
Well, this is what they're going to decide to go with. You said they were scratching their heads before. They seem pretty sure of themselves here, Panda. They're going to go with the Orisa style comp, but they're going to have Shockwave on the Widowmaker, and Sam will go over to the Junkrat. Do you like this as far as what we're seeing here? Suquinho Nation going with that triple tank, triple support.
They're assuming that the entire team, or Lubbock in particular, is going to come back on those Doomfins. That's typically what the Orisa's for. You can use the Diva to keep the windows guarded with your defense matrix. Shockwave hanging out on top of the perch could be safe. But look at the way that they're playing the triple tank. It's a Winston, Diva, and a Reinhardt. That Winston player is Delavigne. That is quite scary as they just speed onto the point.
Jules almost gets taken down there, able to get out of the trap in time to stay alive, but Sam takes out Delavigne, so not too bad of a start from Predators on their defense. They've given up a lot of time, though, on this point, so already accrued 61%, not quite to that. Next, out comes the Riptire, takes the Diva out of mech. Jules staying healed and alive here. Shockwave looking for anybody coming back in the fight, just misses the headshot onto the Tracer, and Delavigne, that's the switch that he ended up making there, as regrouping will be Suquinho Nation. They are quickly going to what looks like a dive comp.
Delavigne, I haven't seen much Winston out of him in his Contenders history thus far, but yeah, full dive. full dive coming out here for Suquinho thus far.
See, we're going to take a quick second here. Apparently, we are having some technical difficulties. We'll be right back here on Broadcast.gg. Welcome back here on Broadcast, and Panda here with you. Point A was just taken by Suquinho Nation. They have 43 left on the clock here to try and take this second point. Labak almost getting caught out here, has a pulse bomb available, Panda. They're starting to look for that opportunity to push in, and they have a bunch of ultimates available to do it.
The swap from Labak and Delavigne over to the Tracer and the Genji have been paying its dividends. TSN have been looking for their opening into the fight. Point B, Predators Esports are doing a good job of holding them at bay thus far, who took the mirror composition and the swaps over. The only difference on the fighting field is that we have a Lucio from TSN. Nigofist looking to enable the rest of his team into the fight. Jules diving into this backline, gets slept. Just left with Mago at 1.
Doesn't matter because Delavigne came dashing in, found 2, pulls the blade out, gets the nano boost, going on to the Winston, slashes and finally eliminates him down, as they are now have this Genji coming back onto the point. A Baby Diva here as well. Shockwave has his blade now and will use his nano to get onto the Lucio, dashing towards the Baby Diva, and Darkin, who's trying to jump off. He won't let him do that. He's going to eliminate him first. Actually, might have served him better to let him go because he couldn't get any ultimate built off that.
Yeah, absolutely. Could have let that stall go a little bit longer onto the Pilot Diva. Procking that passive and milking it for as long as you possibly can is the name of that game. Rank Kyoshi, however, swapping over to the Zenyatta, not feeling the grandmother of Overwatch anymore, going to go ahead and land with a nice Discord orb onto whatever target he possibly finds. Shockwave notices the composition swap, swaps over to the Widowmaker to take the fight and elongate it that much further versus Delavigne. Lubbock with this Brigitte looking to keep the front line alive, but the dive coming through from his Avenge very early. He does have the Primal Rage available.
Couldn't get down that Diva who was so close to falling out of mech. Jules eliminated by Unreal, who's just shooting in there trying to keep everybody alive. As goes in, but Darkin gets 2 with the self-destruct, turning it around for the side of Suquinho Nation if they can hurry up. Looking for those last few players alive. They will start to push onto the point here. Self-destruct onto the high ground by Predators, at least forces them off, but Lubbock is okay with that. Uses the flail to find 1, and then another Darkin takes out another, and Delavigne with 2, so building up, already 33%, so close to getting the win, and they do. Suquinho Nation will win this one as they go up 3-0 over Predators Esports and go 1-0 on the season. Really quickly taking that one away, Panda, from Predators, who put up at least a decent fight there, but those self-destructs were so good.
It's kind of like Nubani in that manner too. Like it just when you thought that Predators Esports were about to come back in this matchup, TSN they pick the right locks, they find the right keys laying on the ground, and then they are able to find their way onto the point by way of their 3-3 or their 3 tanks and 3 supports or double tank triple support composition with Lubbock on that Brigitte, just really finding really crucial shield bashes and coming through on the clutch. That way Jules can really come into his own on that Winston, find the dives, find the picks, turning that tickle cannon into an elimination cannon and really just enabling the rest of his team. My unsung hero is still Rankiyoshi, because when that man's on Zenyatta, just the things die, man. I mean, like the dive becomes so much stronger. Lubbock can press forward that much easier. When you have Inspire and a Harmony Orb on a Brigitte, it is just really scary. I mean, you can even play main tank, and you're gonna be intimidated. That's a support, by the way, that's chasing you down to kill you. Predators Esports just couldn't do anything to suppress Lubbock when he was on his Doomfist or his Brigitte so far. So as TSN look to cement their path to pro here in Contenders Season 3, Labasco, I think they're doing a pretty darn good job at the flexibility tree.
Darkin self-destructs have been so good too, though. I mean, I think that Darkin's diva play is something to maybe be pointed out as well, Panda, because we've seen some really good plays come out from Darkin. A lot of good plays on the side of Suquinho Nation. More than one player, like you said earlier. It's been a team effort for them.
It has been a team effort, and I think that this current patch that we're playing on here, folks, is really showcasing how important it is to, that this is a team-based game. Sure, you can 1v6 when you have a Nano Boost and a Dragon Blade available as Genji. Those opportunities do occur more often than not, you may assume, but not so much when you have this Brigitte at play, when you have a Doomfist at play. Doomfist takes a lot of setup, and so does the Brigitte, to set up a multitude of subjects on your team. That damage that gets taken away from when you are taking that third support or that third or fourth tank on your team actually gets picked up by the diva. That excess burst damage is done by Darkin, as you just see on your screen right there. Quickly to build up these self-destructs, whether they find 1 or that 3 that we just saw, it's very pivotal because you need to have that strong armor and all of that health on an objective like Point B of Hanamura, but it's nothing without that burst damage that can only come through with a self-destruct, especially when your enemy is playing a heavy armor composition like Predators Esports have been consecutively. It's only when Shockwave and Sam saw the Tracer and the Genji from Lubbock and Delavigne that they were like, all right, we can do this too. And it worked out so slightly, but TSN, they always find their W.
And they've
seems.
found it. Right. So far they have. So far they're 3-0. They have one more map to play though, but we're going to take a timeout before we get to that final map. And when we come back, we'll tell you what that map is here on Broadcast.gg. back with Contenders South America. It's Labosco and Panda here with you, getting ready for our fourth and final map of the day. Currently 3-0, Suquinho Nation with the win already, but looking for that fourth map win, Panda. Defensively, we see they're going to go with the Roadhog, the Diva. They're going quad tank. Let's just put it that way.
All right. TSN, I see you. Tipping your hat over to European Overwatch, pulling out an extra tank there. Lubbock, putting on his best Kib impression. I see it. Roadhog is still a very oppressive. One last ride, right? Like he's very oppressive tank, very strong indeed. That hook can really displace any members of any 3-3 nuttery that Predators decide to pull out. However, this is Route 66, y'all. So this is a very high ground oriented map, if you will. This could be a snowball potential if Predators Esports decide to do it. But they're not going to. Oh, no, they are actually. Look at that, Sam coming out here with the fair. He made a name for this this hero, or his name rather, for that hero in particular last season. Looking to do it again, but look at those TSN are playing in a ball of anything. Sam can build a barrage so quickly, 80%.
Oh, goodness, yes, like you said, 80%, Panda. Almost to 97. Yep, he's going to get it right here, right now. Oh, boy, it's barely that hook that came in. Has the chance for the barrage. Says, Diva, I see you. You're not going to deal with me at all. And takes Nagelfist down. And then Darkin. What a start for the side of Predators Esports.
Yeah, look, it's just on a tear. That pressure going unchecked from Predators Esports. Sam really coming to life. The payload still hasn't yet to start moving, but it will. They got 3 members on the payload. TSN looking to make a strong showcasing to how good this composition is. Get a nice replay of Sam. You can't really replay the entirety of Afera, just absolutely belittling the enemy team with rockets, saying the entire voice line is a gold medal for the day for Sam, as they look to set themselves up for this capture point. Predators Esports, they will have a recontest here momentarily. They do have a Transcendence, and they will have a Valkyrie for Predators Esports to walk out here with a victory on point A.
Probably has a couple of gold medals for himself so far.
Probably.
Tarkin's quickly eliminated from the mech and then just blanked by Sam and the help with Shockwave here. So their team just controlling pace so well right now. Found themselves a high energy Zarya. Goodbye as well in just a moment. So close to missing some of those rockets, but Delavigne quickly falls. So does the Reinhardt, who's on the point in Jules.
So the Suquinho Nation are getting belittled by rockets. So they swap out the Roadhog to the Brigitte. Makes sense, right? It doesn't. And it absolutely does. There's absolutely nothing that's stopping Sam in the air. He's getting so much free damage off. He has another barrage. He's pulling it down. He's finding the entire team onto the ground. My God. Predators Esports.
Yeah, just a grab was eaten, and then a grab got off for the side of Predators. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Panda, but fine. I was shocked by the grab getting eaten that was sent out. And, well, that part of why is Suquinho Nation's making switches.
Yeah.
Delvigne's gone to the McCree.
Yeah, to no avail, too. I mean, finally, they'll have some sort of ability to shoot this fair out of the sky. But look at the know-all of Predators. Hitting that tab button, doing the big rain plays, noticing that there's a McCree on the field now for TSN. So now they go over to a Brig. Avenge will have a Primal Rage available. Mago holding on to that Transcendence. They can hang out with the payload, with the speed boost available, and just punish anybody from TSN looking to dive. More importantly, Jules. They have been able to suppress him so far onto this main tank, and you can see that right there. Shield Bash should come through to stop that main tank. He is having to get the heck out of there.
So close to taking Jules down. He is able to escape, get into Transcendence now to stay alive. Ooh, almost getting blanked again. Darkin did get, he carries mech at the very least. So that is something that Suquinho Nation can use to try pushing for. They know that there's no more defense matrix. And Rankoshi able to get his avenge as Rankoshi and Darkin finding those eliminations and stabilizing on defense for Suquinho Nation.
TSN forcing the entire team of Predators back to their spawn. They were not happy with how much space they had given over to point A. Delavigne will have a Deadeye ultimate ready and available. TSN are about to have 2 tank ultimates, but more importantly, the armor that can go under Rankyoshi still has his. The rest of the team has been lacking as far as sustainability is concerned. Predators Esports is going to have a hard time getting their way through said armor, but Shockwave nearing this Graviton Surge can combine it with the Self-Destruct is definitely a good answer into it.
Oh, and Shockwave getting the limb onto Darkin. Uses his Deadeye, but he went right into the opposing team. Still manages to find Shockwave. Even though that happened, Delavigne with one more before he falls. He carries Self-Destruct, able to take him down, but it might not be enough. Rally used here, though. They want to win this fight for the side of Predators Esports. Lubbock, though, will get a sound barrier to keep him alive. As we see Jules starting to come back into this fight, but respawns in favor of Suquinho Nation, of Predators. So Suquinho Nation have to be careful. They get caught in the grab here. Transcendence in time to keep everybody up, but you can't do anything when Isavage will use his charge in. Self-destruct goes right behind the cart so nobody falls. There's also a sound barrier to make sure that doesn't happen. Sam finding Negofist as well helps. Ran Kyoshi able to get Hikari's mech at the very least, but that's probably not enough as his cart starts to continue again. Shockwave just with a little bit of help from his team staying alive here. Delavigne so close to falling though, as this cart is where the battles continue, and Lubbock able to get Unreal, followed by Darkin getting Sam.
Yeah, and so now the entire attacking team of Predators Esports, not only did they only get just a handful of meters on that last fight, they had to invest so many ultimates, but they're able to walk away with an ult economy. They're going to have this Transcendence readily available for Delavigne's Graviton Surge, but they can still burst through and do enough damage from their own abilities to make that Transcendence not even matter. Predators Esports, however, they do have Isavenge's Shatter. He's been doing a lot of good damage through, underneath all that armor coming through from Sam. He's pushing in, he gets the Shatter down, but the bubble to save Darkin so far, and then knocked on the ground. He's absolutely being punished.
Delavigne looking for an opportunity for the grab, sees where the Diva goes, throws it on. Transcendence keeps everyone alive through it, but it won't keep everybody alive through the self-destruct. Darkin getting his avenge. Throwing his self-destruct in the air. Hikari does manage to get Ran Kyoshi out, so 2 players down here. Predators Esports still have to win this battle on the cart, though. They can't let their Lucio fall in this fight. So close, Jules gets him down, but it might not be enough. Their Lucio's still alive, and Negofist is the only thing. Spawn advantage is pretty even here. Negofist falling, and now the cart finally in control of Predators. They're pushing towards those stars. They know that there's a Diva nearby, extremely close to being out of mech. Darkin does get pushed out as they now go towards the doors.
Yeah, Darkin got the re-mech, and then he actually almost made it out there. And the retest has to come through. You can see Lubbock just charging back onto the point. Members of the nation just dying, unfortunately, just plummeting their way onto the cart, looking for anything if they can find it. Rankiyoshi not finding any blissful transcendence there. Will kill his counterpart of Mago, but the payload will capture and will be 2 points over to Predators as they walk into the factory of Route 66. They do have that Earth Shatter still available. A sound barrier is online for Unreal, and the self-destruct for Hickory has been doing well this game so far, Labosco. So if he can stay consistent with those self-destructs, and Hickory can continue to make an impact for Predators Esports to find their way into that third and final capture point.
Isavenge looking for the Shatter, does manage to get one. It's the Reinhardt, so no main tank to deal with anymore. Self-destruct, if it's thrown in the right place, could potentially find someone. Throws it out quickly as a carry, not able to get anybody with it, but Shockwave was able to take out Lubbock in the meantime, along with Mago getting Delavigne. So they're winning this battle again, keeping this cart moving with 39 seconds left to go. There's going to be one more team fight before this cart can get all the way there, and there's ultimates on either side that can turn this.
It's going to be a super long team fight at that. Lubbock is about to roll out a spawn with that rally available. Both Zarya's will have a Graviton Surge. One Transcendence on the board. Predators Esports has a chance to finish out this match just with the super ultimate alone. Self-destruct in the air.
Throws it out, doesn't find anybody. Is avenged, manages to get Negovist instead. Earthshatter came out, but I think it didn't get anything. I think it was stunned out of it is the only problem, so Jules falling there. Counter Earthshatter, can't find anyone is the only thing, but they're winning this fight for the side of Predators Esports. Darkin so close to losing, Mech being kept alive by the Brigitte for the moment. Negofist on the point, overtime has started to tick down. Jules swinging the hammer, finds two. Only thing is it might not be enough. Self-destruct to try and find somebody, can't. Eliminating another one with Shockwave, as this is turning around for the side of Suquinho East, as they almost have this, as Predator Esports has only Hikari left, who will fall. Coming back in is the Lucio, but quickly eliminated.
completely decimated. His earth was shattered from all the amount of damage that Jules got off there in the final moments of the team fight. Suquinho Nation looking very strong in those final moments there by way of heroic play from their main tank. They definitely have him to thank at the end of the day. By that man a steak dinner. He has definitely earned it this series. Sure, Suquinho Nation, they did win the series, but you don't want to lose Route 66, the escort map, that convincing, because it shows a lot of holes for future opponents. Predators Esports are opening up the Suquinho Nation like a can of Pringles right now, Labasco. It's getting freaky, and it's getting absolutely stunning how well Predators can play when they are actually playing as a cohesive unit. Those self-destructs, the graviton surges, the bubble play onto his Avenge to keep him holding down the W key on top of the Discord orbs that Mago is setting down in pace for him has been stunning to watch through Route 66. The Suquinho Nation, however, maybe they put all their energy into those first 3 maps and they just have to be slapped in the face just a little bit more time so that way they wake up. But the win condition is set. If they essentially capture all 3 points here on Route 66, they will walk away with the win and the 4-0 victory.
We see for the Predators Esports that they come out with the Zen, the Lucio, and then they also have the 3 tanks in Isavenge, Shikari, and Shockwave, and of course, Sam on Brigitte. So they're going to go 3-3 on theirs. Jules is showing us Bastion. Well, obviously, that can change as they still have a little bit of time beforehand. Of course, don't trust it. Don't ever trust it. He goes over to the right.
Yeah, getting his anger out on that shop. But you look at the way that the entire team of Predators Esports play. It paid dividends for TSN to play this aggressively, so anything they can do, they can Predators Esports can do better, right? But as they're sitting here hanging out on the low ground, Suquinho Nation, they're like, all right, we'll just take the high ground. Well, the cart's all the way back there, boys. You got to get it there eventually.
Now they start to advance towards it. The only problem is they have a team on the cart in Predators Esports. They dive in onto that team. Isavenge with the great pin onto Lubbock. Negofist does manage to get Isavenge, who is caught out because of that, as now Jules with the fire strike and the swing of the hammer gets 2 more, and this cart will start to roll.
Cart will roll on here for TSN. Swapping spawn sides with Predators Esports was the answer. They're playing the elongated chess play that is Overwatch to this patch. Suquinho Nation able to walk away with a hefty amount of ult charge at that. So Predators Esports, their aggressive hold will give them another fight here on point A to try to stop TSN from capturing this first capture point. But speaking of its ultimates, Jules has the Earth Shatter available.
If they hurry and get on the cart, they'll have another fight. Oh, but the huge shatter is going to make it not matter. The cart will be able to continue rolling after this, and they should easily get this point.
Easily able to walk through onto this point. It's definitely possible for one of the members of Predators Esports to swap over maybe to a hamster and make it back in time, but it's highly unlikely. And even if you did, you'd probably get blown to bits by the self-destruct that is held together, that is held by Darkin. Speaking of self-destruct, could be comboed with Delavigne's Graviton Surge, but look at Predators, they're still walking forward. They get eaten into the grab. Self-destruct thrown out. It's absolutely massive.
Incredible use of ultimates from Suquinho Nation. They had that completed as well when the grab came out, so you can't even get a third fight for Predators Esports. And they're not even down in ultimates for Suquinho Nation. They only use 2. Well, guess what? They have all their other ultimates.
This is the time when you're Diva and you just want to sit down, play video games, defense matrix for a little bit, and reset yourself back up. You get a nice little replay on your screen here of what just happened momentarily. It's beautiful. The defense matrix, graviton surge, self-destruct. Predators Esports, they had nowhere to go. They do have a couple support ultimates. Transcendence being used, but it's Hickory with the self-destruct this time around. Labasco
finds one and a mech as well of Darkin, using the sound barrier to keep everybody else alive, though. With Suquinho Nation, they stay advancing forward, but that might be a mistake because sound barrier committed by Predators Esports, and they will get the win on the cart. Only one ultimate will be up after this fight concludes, and that's Jules has the Earth Shatter, which we've already seen him get a massive one on here on this map.
And Isavenge is about to have his, so mirroring Earth Shatters here momentarily. There's hardly any armor still left available on the side of the Suquinho besides what's naturally there for their tank members. But take a look at Predators. All the armor is still on to Mago underneath the shields, Unreal above his HP, and in between the shields of Shockwave and his HP. Sam has been doing a good job of keeping his Inspire uptime thus far for Isavenge to stay on the front line. Earth Shatter goes down from Jules. Doesn't find anything.
Good use of his shield by Isavenge, and now he has an Earth Shatter, and he finds his opportunity because of the great stun by the Brigitte, and that will cause the cleanup to happen here. Swing his hammer in to try and build up to another one. Is Avenged. Didn't quite get too much out of it, but he does have the ultimate for Shockwave that's up here instead. So, not too bad. Both Zaryas have ults.
And we're down to 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So as this next team fight ensues, Labasco, like you had mentioned, both the Zaryas do have the Graviton Surge. Both Zenyatta's have their Transcendence, so it's really about how much damage can be played into. And look at Shockwave looking to be a little bit cheeky. He doesn't know where the entire team of TSN comes from. He gives up the cheekiness and just decides to play forward, and normal Zarya just waiting to play underneath them, looking to catch the grab. He finds
gets everyone into the grab, and nobody really gets caught into the grab that Predators was in. Self-destruct does get Delavigne, so even though he uses his grab, he can't find anything afterwards. Ran Kyoshi does eliminate Sam. In the meanwhile, Jules charging in, finds himself a target, and they're turning this fight around for Suquinho Nation. What they needed to have happen is, and Jules is built up to another Earth Shatter, but Isavenge also with his ultimates going to the side of Suquinho Nation, though 4 into this next fight.
Jules has been a absolute twilight out here for the Suquinho Nation, and I gotta say, it's only doing his part in creating the space for this 3-3 composition of TSN to continue to find all of the damage that they seem to be missing that you might think is supposed to be there with the lack of DPS. But Predators Esports, they will have another contest before this capture point comes through, and they go through the bottom left tunnel instead, catching the entire team of TSN off guard.
Have to get to the point, though, is still the thing, or the cart, I should say. Have to stop its advancement so it doesn't get into those doors. They are together as a team. Earth Shatter does catch out Sam. Good use of the sound barrier keeps him alive, and the self-destruct doesn't find anything. So, still a chance here for the Predators in this match, but Ran Kyoshi finds Mango and then uses his Transcendence to keep everybody alive. Lubbock with the shield bash onto Unreal eliminates him from this one. Nagelfix blanking Isavenge, and they will get this point with 50 seconds left to go, but their time bank is not massive under this final point, and they're now down in alt economy.
2 minutes and 10 seconds left to capture this third and final point. Rankyoshi went absolute full unit there onto the enemy. Zenyatta found Mago chasing him off the ground, found him with a Orb of Destruction as he was falling off the ramparts, and then pulled out his Transcendence to keep the rest of his team alive. He's been doing so good thus far. The shield bash just stops the Earth Shatter from coming out. Jules, very unfortunate.
But the self-destruct in response gets Nagelfist, and Lubbock falls out as well, so this might be enough for Predators to win this fight. Put the bubble onto the Reinhardt out in front. Shockwave has an opportunity here to use grab, potentially holding on to it right now. It has forced everybody back on the side of Suquinho Nation. They do use rally here onto everybody, and now out comes this ultimate in the self-destruct from Darkin, who does get one, and the Mac Delavigne taking out Shockwave, so this did not go the way that Predators Esports wanted.
Oh, you thought you didn't see any DPS on the side of TSN? Haha, yeah, joke's on you. Rankiyoshi's over here, man. This man is lobbing Orbs of Destruction like it is actually his job into the big tanks of Predators Esports and is getting his money's worth. He is setting up the Suquinho Nation. Predators Esports, they don't know who to focus anymore. Is it the main tank of Jules who's creating all the space? Is it Rankyoshi in the backline? They have no idea, but it's last team fight scenario, and Jules, he has another Earth Shatter.
Uses it right now, and it's massive. Transcendence keeping everybody up in the fight for the moment. Lubbock finds Sam, though at the beginning, Transcendence from Predators Esports doesn't do enough to keep players alive. Both teams use their sound barriers. Pushing forward is Suquinho Nation. They get carry out. Graviton Surge with the self-destruct should be the icing on the cake, as it's just Sam in this wrecking ball to stall. Is Avenged back on? Did get Nagelfist. Doesn't matter. It's 4-0 Suquinho Nation. They win this one.
All of the stall and little hamsters in the world wasn't enough to